Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. We got a fun one prepared today. What we'll be doing is we'll be breaking down our round 2 matchups of the 2024 college football season. But what we're going to do is we're going to be breaking down every matchup one by one. The one that we're going to be concentrating on today is going to be the quarterfinal matchup, the Fiesta Bowl versus Penn State and Boise State. We're going to completely break down this game, try to predict the outcome, who's going to win, who's going to lose, and what the final score will be. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, please drop them below and I will respond. We're going over every single game, every single matchup, the bowl games, all of the playoff games. First year of the 12-team playoff for college football. Round 1 is in the books. We now have round 2. There's a lot of really good games. Everyone's trying to make their way through the quarterfinal, trying to get to that national championship. We are going over every college football game, and we also do the same thing for every NFL game every week as well. We break down the best bets, the money lines, the spreads, the over-unders. If you're a football fan, if you're a sports fan in general, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with us. And let's not forget, Merry Christmas to everyone as well. Let's go ahead and get things started looking at this matchup. This game's actually going to be on Friday. It's the lone Friday playoff game, the Fiesta Bowl, Friday 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. Number 6, Penn State, 12-2, having just lost that Big Ten championship to Oregon, came back. They beat SMU in round 1. They'll be playing number 3, Boise State, who's 12-1, coming off the bye week. Didn't have to play last week. They are fully rested. Penn State's going to be number 6 in the country, 12-2. 3, Boise State, 12-1. Penn State heavy favorites in this matchup. 64.8% chance to win this game. Double-digit point favorites from Vegas. 10.5 point favorites over here is going to be 52.5. This is an interesting game. This is going to be strength on strength. This is two teams that both love to run the ball, but this game is going to be decided in the trenches at the line of scrimmage. What Penn State brings to the table is a top 10 elite level aggressive defense. They have a great defensive line. They're going to get after it. This is a run-stopping team, and Boise State is a rushing team, a top 10 rushing team in the nation. Who's going to open up the line of scrimmage? Who's going to be able to control the ground game, control the time of possession the best? Looking at the playmakers here for Penn State, there's a lot of pressure that's going to be on James Franklin. Obviously, he lost the Big Ten championship. A lot of people say that he can't win the big game. Yes, he won his matchup in round 1. Penn State always beats teams that they are usually favored by. They beat teams that they're better than. It's when they play really competitive teams, usually the Michigans, the Buckeyes. That's when you see Penn State drop the game like they did versus Oregon. But hey, they won round 1. Now they have a chance to win round 2. Heavy favorites here. Get to round 3 of the playoffs. They actually have had a pretty easy route so far. Never apologize for a win, though. Penn State can almost kind of back itself right into the national championship. Just beat these teams that you are heavy favorites in. Drew Waller having a pretty decent season so far, and he's starting to run the ball a lot. He's being mobile, scrambling for first downs, getting out of pressure. He's closing on 3,100 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks. They're averaging 33.9 points a game, throwing for 246.1, running for 201.2. Very balanced offense. It's what they can do in the ground game, though. Yes, Drew Waller can scramble, but they have one of the best 1-2 running back combos in the nation. Allen, Singleton, they can cycle those guys in 4 to 5 carries each, keep them fresh throughout the games. You have to compete with this run game, not for 1, not 2, not 3, 4 quarters of physical downhill running. They're going to wear you out. You have to stop them the entire game. If they get that run game going, that's going to open up the play action for Drew Waller. It's going to be very hard to compete with this team. Boise doesn't have the best defense. They don't have a bad defense, but they don't have the best defense. Will they have the depth to be able to withstand the pounding at the line of scrimmage from that offensive line and this run game? And, of course, Penn State, they're only giving up 15.9 points a game. An elite top 10 statistical defense in all of college football. It's what Allen does on defense. They get after it. There's going to be pressure here. Can Madsen hold up at the quarterback position? If he has defenders in his face, is that going to force some errant throws? Is that going to force some turnovers? And we all know who the weapon is for Boise State. They have the best running back in all of college football. They have Ashton Jeanty. He's had a great season so far. Put up video game numbers the entire season, even when he played stiffer competition. Had a great game there versus the Oregon Ducks in Eugene, Oregon. So no one has been able to successfully shut him down on the ground. But Penn State, they've been preparing for this guy for a while. They've known that they were going to be facing Boise State here. Is he still going to pick up his yardage? Because if you make Boise State completely one-dimensional, take maybe the run game away from them, is Madsen in that pass game going to be able to step up? Will they be able to do so when they're under an immense amount of pressure? Looking at what Madsen's numbers are, he's actually had a pretty decent season so far. Right now he's closing in on 2,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 3 picks. Very efficient with the ball, keeping the turnovers down. That could be the key here, especially if they can get Genty going on the ground. They're averaging 39.1 points a game. That's a top 10 offense in the country. Throwing for 224.2, running for 250.5. This is a top 10 rushing team. But Penn State, one of the best rush defenses in the nation, only giving up 100.3 yards on the ground. That's about 30 to 40% of what Boise State averages every game. It's strength on strength who's going to own the trenches, and they're giving up 21.9 points a game, 274 pass yards per game. That's a pretty bad secondary. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for Penn State to vertically push the ball down the field. Boise State, they don't have the best secondary. There's going to be targets wide open there. And if your secondary's lacking, that probably means you're not getting a lot of pressure from your defensive line. If you're not getting pressure on Drew Waller, he's going to pick you apart. But no pressure on him means that offensive line might start opening up some holes, which means Allen and Singleton are going to burst through those holes. They're going to be picking up some yardage on the ground. Looking at the playmakers for Penn State, obviously, there's Drew Waller, there's Singleton, there's Allen. Pick one of those guys. It really doesn't matter. They're both going to be picking up massive yardage. But the X factor here is going to be Tyler Warren, 5 yards shy of 1,100. No one can stop this guy. What he's been doing single-handedly for the last 2 months, he's been single-handedly winning games. He's a massive target. He's a massive tight end, going to be a first-round pick when he decides to come out. And they put that guy at halfback sometimes. They spread him out everywhere. He's a playmaker. Put the ball in your playmaker's hands. Nobody on that Boise State team is going to be able to defend this guy. You're going to have to put a linebacker on him basically the whole game. Easier said than done. No one's figured out a way to stop him from getting the ball. When he gets the ball, especially on third and long situations, they're going to be looking. They're going to try to find Tyler Warren. And looking at the playmakers for Boise, they have Madsen. He can throw it. He can run it a little bit. Very efficient quarterback. But this defense is going to put them in some very precarious positions. And at running back, you have none other than Ashton Gentry. 3 yards shy of 2,500, 30 total touchdowns this season. Video game numbers. But is that going to continue here in the playoffs? And they also have Camper. I think overall, Gentry's going to be able to get his yards. I don't think he's going to have another 200-yard game here, but I can see him getting over the century mark. But it's going to take 4 quarters of it over this entire game for that to happen. So what's the final outcome that we have? I think Boise might be able to keep this close for maybe the first quarter. And then I think they might make it a little closer there at the end. It could be garbage points. Really doesn't matter. But I think Penn State overall is going to dominate this game in the trenches. That's what's going to make the difference. Penn State wins this one 33-24. I have them covering that massive spread. And we're going to go with the over. James Franklin, Penn State, they move on to the next round. So that's a breakdown of our Penn State versus Boise State matchup for the Fiesta Bowl. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.